He traded his eyes for... That's what he did.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would make that.
It's equivalent. I mean, it's like...
Is it equivalent? I don't know. Today, we continue our journey through JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 8, Jojolion. In this Part 2 video, we will be covering chapters 39 through 76, which means that today, my name is Josh Lokakaka Michaels, and I am joined by...
Mehgan lives on a ski lift, Perrine.
Love it. Amazing. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Volume 1's Bizarre Adventure. Like I mentioned but moments ago, we are covering chapters 39 through 76, the middle chunk of Part 8. The first part was all about mystery, and I feel like this part is a lot about getting the answers to those mysteries. Not all of the answers, but a lot of answers.
Yeah.
And I ask myself, do I feel like the answers that we got, did they pay off those mysteries? I think yes. I loved the answers to a lot of the questions we had in this first part. It's JoJo's. You never know where it's going to go, what's going to happen, how it's going to get answered. Mm-hmm. But with the addition of Josufume and finding out more about him, who he was, Araki stays consistent in giving us really like messed up,
childhood stories,
origin stories. And I don't know, like we might have to, that'd be a fun video to do one day where we kind of go through all the Joestars, because Johnny had it pretty rough. But Josufume had it like pretty freaking rough too. He saw his mother choose to not save him, but definitely second guess.
I wouldn't say. I think she chose. There was two choices in that moment: help him or duck and hide, and she chose duck and hide.
What he saw her think about it, like, and I don't think you want your mom to think about whether she's going to save you or not.
Yeah,
you want her to just save you.
Yeah,
and she ended up jumping in there, and I think but not until way later.
Yeah. But I mean, they do say not to jump in to like waters to help people because you could just end up dying too. But she knew that, so she used it to her advantage because she wanted to go on a yacht with some boys.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know whose side you're on.
What?
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
That was so rude.
It's just funny because you're like, well, they do say.
Well, that's true. It's true.
You know what? I'll remember that if we ever go to the beach again and you get pulled out to sea.
Fucking asshole.
I will say, Mehgan, they say not to go out there.
She's not a trained lifeguard, okay?
Neither am I. Anyway, Josufume is not the only character whose backstory we get. We get a little bit more of Yasuho and her backstory. And, I mean, they're just very real. Yasuho being from a divorced family and finding out that, I mean, just her perception of her father and how much she cares about him, how much she wants to, stay his cute little girl. And
he just took a fat shit on all of that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. By the way, I have a girlfriend now, so I can't be a dad anymore.
Oh, and I'm having another baby, too.
Yeah,
so.
Pretty much.
We're naming her Yasuho the second.
Yeah.
Actually,
I'm really bad with names.
Yeah.
I've called you that for so long.
Yeah.
People naming their dog something else. Like
I want to reset. Like I'm erasing all my save data,
mm-hmm.
and I'm starting over, but I'm naming my character the same thing.
Yeah. My go-to.
So yeah, I mean, Araki that's something that he's always been like really good at, and it really does again like make me quickly empathize with these characters and give them both like such a good reason to be invested in Holly.
I mean, both of them, and also, well, not both of them, but like both characters, right, to be invested in Holly, but also Jobin's kind of we see his backstory too in this part.
Yes,
and that was crazy. I'm loving the part that I love about Jojolion thus far and throughout is the we're seeing both sides, right? It usually when we are watching, or not watching, but like reading, like Stone Ocean or Golden Wind, like we were seeing the good guys do what they did. We didn't see too much of the others, the villains, I guess, quote unquote.
Right.
This is more of like a gray area, and that's what I liked at the end of this because now we have two clear sides, I guess. They were kind of like working together, but now they're not. And I love that. I love seeing the conversation between like the villains and stuff more than we did in previous parts.
Right.
Do you agree
No,
with
absolutely.
that?
I mean, I love a character, an antagonist who is morally great. Like Jobin comes off, and again, like, dude, I really like. Do I feel like the mysteries were paid off well? Absolutely. But we're getting so much more information on these characters, and Jobin was introduced towards the end of the first chunk of chapters that we read. Now, getting to spend more time with him. At first, he comes off, and even still in moments, he comes off as this like very rich, entitled kid who didn't have to work for anything. Like it was just sort of like handed to him. So he has all these like preconceived notions of like people who he feels are like beneath him. But he also, at the core of what he's trying to do, he's also trying to like protect his family. He's also trying to save his son. He's also trying to break this curse. So like he does suck. He's not a Joshu, but he's not that level of shitty. But he is a shitty person with like good intentions, I guess. Especially when it comes to his desire for wanting to obtain this like lokaka fruit. Or whatever.
At first it was kind of like murky. I was like, why is he like, he was playing both sides essentially, being like, oh yeah, well now that it's in the wrong hands, I'm just gonna burn it all. Like he doesn't. It's like kind of a thing where it's like, I need it, I'm gonna keep it for myself. I thought he was gonna like distribute it, like he was talking about, but that's not the case. Anymore. And I like this, like how Araki in this part is really playing with like your expectations of characters and like completely like just changing them. Especially with like the main, the dad, like we thought he was going to be this like big bad or something that he had this like, secrets and he was lying, and he was most kind of, but I liked how he is now just like the dad character. Like he's not necessarily in it too much, and now the story's shifted to the main like Jobin, and even Tsurugi, and obviously like Josuke and Yasuo and the plant appraisal guy. Now we have like, those are the Jobros, I guess. Those like, are the Jobros.
This really does feel like a group of Jobros again. Like Steel Ball Run, of course, it still ranks for me personally as like my number one. I loved it. Gyro, Johnny. The dynamic duo, you can't beat them. But, there was Hot Pants and, there was some other people who like popped in and out, but it really felt like Gyro, Johnny. Like that was the two. But this starts to feel more like a classic gang of Jobros. Like once the plant appraiser gets introduced and becomes a part of the dynamic, it's like, okay, this is what I love about JoJo, having this core group of a core like team of heroes that I'm rooting for, right? And they all have their own flaws. Like the plant appraiser is a great addition to this group for so many reasons. That's another thing I just really enjoy. I'm still enjoying it. Obviously, like people have told us that it gets to a point where it loses momentum or it changes and it becomes something different, or I don't know. I am trying to just kind of go in, pushing all that aside and just experience it for myself and see like how it feels to me. And it is changing. Like I said, it's not as much about the mystery anymore. It's about the answers to those mysteries. And now by the end of this chunk, we have the goal. And now we have our corpse part. We have the lokaka fruit. And like everybody's goals are set, right? Like we know that everybody's doing it. Like our heroes are doing it for mostly Holly, right? But the new characters that are introduced too have been so consistently good. And I'm talking about on both sides. Like this goes for the villains, this goes for the heroes, the Joe Bros. Like they're all so good. I mean, we got the introduction of the mom, which was a great introduction and a great addition rather to this cast of characters. Like the comedy is still very present and it feels funnier than any JoJo part so far. I mean, Steel Ball had its moments. And there's even like another song moment from Josuke in this part too, which I love.
And
but
even
the characters are still fucking great.
It was like Josuke and Joshu with the fried chicken. I think it was Joshu, right? The fried chicken song.
Was it when Jobin went to the shrine?
No, he sang that song too. But there was also a fried chicken song as well. It's somewhere in my plethora of notes.
We'll get it when we get to the beat by beat. I'm sure we'll come across it.
Yeah.
I guess the only question I have, and I want to talk about the rock people too, for sure. But before we talk about them, the only question I think I have is, it feels by the end, like you said, that we've kind of been given our like antagonistic force, like this team, this opposing team who is going to like be getting in our protagonist's way. And that seems to be like, for sure, Jobin and Surdugi. We know that there's more people working in the shadows, but because of fan art that I've seen and from being online, like there's a character, there's a main, like a big bad, like a Valentine level big bad that I've seen in fan art and I've seen in YouTube thumbnails, and I still haven't seen him at all in the story. So I don't know who this guy is. We have 34 more chapters left. Who he is, how he's going to affect the story. What is, I just want to know, like, I mean, introducing him at this point in the story, I wonder what that's going to do, how that's going to feel, how that's going to change things again.
They've shown throughout the story, especially in this part, that it's not as small as they think it is with this fruit
operation.
Yeah. No, I mean, it exceeds to everywhere around the world. Everyone wants to get their hands on this thing because it's like big pharma level shit. Like if they get this thing, then they're going to capitalize on eternal life. They're going to capitalize. I mean, essentially, like cloning, pretty much. Like, okay, well, now that if you feel like you're going to die, you can replace yourself with you could trade a life for a life, essentially, and that's like scary if it gets into the wrong hands. And that's been said again and again by fucking what's his name, baby Joe. What was his name? Sad Joe.
Oh, poor Tom.
Poor Tom. Yeah.
Poor Tom.
Jesus, poor Tom.
Poor Tom's a munch, by the way, dude.
Don't say that about a child.
He's not a child. He's a rock person.
Grown man baby. Yeah.
But speaking of, I don't know why I thought this was so funny throughout. The comedy is one of my favorite parts about it, for sure. And it does hit and it does land.
Oh, yeah.
This, I don't know if it's intentionally supposed to be funny, but it made me laugh every single time. There are multiple characters throughout who always, every time they mention the low caca, whatever fruit, I'll just call it the caca fruit from now on. Every time they mention the caca fruit, they always have to say it's not illegal. Like, and I just think that's the shadiest. Like, it almost makes it feel like it is illegal because all of them say, like, I mean, it's not illegal, but it's not even regulated. But so it's not like we're doing anything wrong. But I mean, we can't let this power get into the wrong hands by any means. But not because it's illegal. Because again, it's not illegal. It's just because it's powerful. But it's not so powerful that it's illegal yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, dude. I mean, you're really laying it on thick, and it makes me feel like it is illegal. I just thought that was very funny. But the rock people. Okay, now that we're talking about them, I love the introduction of these characters. In addition to stands, JoJo has always been a world full of characters, creatures, items, relics, artifacts, things that are otherworldly, things that monsters even that aren't normal by any means. They're very odd. It's always existed in the stories. And this does feel like, again, with a reimagining of part 4 and a reimagining of Morio, this almost can be interpreted and feels to me a bit like a reimagining of the Pillarmen, right? I really do like this new addition, these new enemies who are tougher, who are just harder to beat. I think it works. I think it works. The only thing I don't want to say I disliked it, but I'm curious to see how it would have played differently. Was when we were just given all the information, like an almost exposition dump about the rock people at the beginning of one chapter. We were given like a couple pages, diagrams, history, like all of it was thrown at us. And maybe like Araki zooms out and says like, okay, well, where they come from and all of the details about them like aren't super important. It's going to bog down the overall story that I'm trying to tell. So I'm just going to include it all here so we get it out there. But I don't know. I would have liked to see how it would have played if it was like integrated into the story more, if they were like finding things out. I mean, even if somebody would have gone to like, I guess I don't know how they would have found it out, but like, I don't know, if Paisley Park like went through records and pieced together information and it came from her instead of it just coming from this like omnipotent, voice of a narrator or something. Again, it didn't bother me. It was just something that I would have been curious to see integrated into the story in a more organic way. But I do like them a lot. I like that, and I like that there's not like a lot of information on them too. This is something that I think Araki does extremely well, where he doesn't feel the need to answer everything. Like he'll answer like a lot of things, but not everything. And I think that's what makes it feel more like an urban legend. That's what makes it feel like it could be something that maybe even exists in our world potentially for a conspiracy theorist mind or something like the Bigfoot or Loch Ness. Like
they're like very similar to like reptilian people, where they could like live amongst us, but also have abilities and stuff.
Right.
And they're working. They could be your neighbor and you don't know.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Or you could get cucked under your bed.
Because
you tell your
fucking crazy
girlfriend that you fall asleep for 2 months at a time.
Wow.
But yeah, anything could happen.
But I mean, it's cool because when they're talking about the stages of life and how they sleep in different stages, and we're seeing, I mean, as a Doctor Who fan, I mean, this is like Weeping Angels-esque, these like stones, and if you turn your back, they'll come to life. Not the same thing, but I just
only similarity is stone.
No. But I think it was because of specifically because of the ending of the original Blink Weeping Angels episode. At the end, there's this montage of like all of these statues everywhere, and they're like, yeah, these could all be these things, and that's what that
like gargoyles.
Right.
They like yeah.
They could have been gargoyles
statues,
too. Right?
Yeah,
and that's what kind of that shrine. Not puzzle, but like game thing, not game. You know what I mean? When he was like, guess how many are in this image?
I guessed right. I guessed right.
You guessed right?
I guessed right. I was like 2. And then I was like, guess you guessed it 2, maybe. And I was like, okay, well.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I love, because he's like, maybe there could be more. And the positions that they fall asleep in, he's like, they don't know why they do that. Like, who knows why they do that? Like, I think that's such a good lesson in like creating these like this mythology, these urban legends is what makes them feel real is not knowing everything about them, even from the voice of someone who's supposed to know everything about them. I don't know. I just
makes it more ominous.
It does. I really like that.
Yeah, they're really like, for some reason they're ominous. I at first I was like, this doesn't make rock people. What is this even? What's happening right now? And then you just kind of accept it, and you're like, okay, I guess there's just rock people around.
100%. It did feel like when we first met the architect, because it was this thing they were discovering like as they were fighting him, and it was kind of like
it wasn't even it was like. Yeah, they were discovering it, but at the same time, just like saying it over and over. Like the dad, Papa Higashikita.
Yeah, Papa.
He was like, I can't, like really trying to drill it into your brain. Like, that can't be a human. What is? Is this a rock? Is he a what? What kind of person? Like it was just like okay, something's up. Something's up. And I thought it was gonna be like one instance, but it was like, oh no, this is a whole team.
Right. I think it
and
was...
and it keeps going,
I think it was a rocky start, no pun intended.
Oh.
Because, again, Araki's in a tough spot where he's like, I need...
A rocky in
a hard place. Sorry.
Why did you say sorry?
I don't know. You can't, not that I meant it in any way to be disrespectful, but
it was
I didn't want
not
it to even come across that way.
It was just a pun joke.
Okay, I just, I want to be sure. Okay, I want to be clear. But it started off rocky because Rocky's in a position where he has to like let the readers know that this isn't a stand ability. It's something that can be perceived to be, but he has to tell you like it's not. And how does he do that in that situation? It's by another character, Papa Higashikita, constantly saying like, "This is not a stand ability,"
Mm-hmm.
So but. So I guess they did. It was something that was like organically integrated within the story.
I think
but
that
it wasn't like, I don't know. It was that, and then it was just like maybe Araki realized like, okay, after that I don't know. I could do it better, but here's just all the information. Maybe I'm overthinking it. It's just part of why we talk these things out. It's just fun to think about. But yeah, I love them so much. I love all of the continued Easter eggs that we've been getting throughout. I mean, there was a comment, and I just wanted to shout him out really quickly here. Robo Crafts on our last video said, here's some things you missed. And just a couple of them are Yasuho Hirose, same family name as Koichi Hirose. Kei Kira, the maid, her made up family name is Nijimura, same name as Okuyasu. Talking about Jotaro's design being used with Kei and Jotaro's love for the sea being used in Yoshikage Kira. Just so many small Easter eggs in name that harken back to the characters in part 4, but also like with the addition of some of these new characters, like another new character was Carrera Tsukinami, who is also obviously a bit of a callback to Yukako Yamagishi from part 4. They are not similar as like characters at all, but their standability is a little similar, and they, I definitely think, they're
and we get like
a
a little
reimagined version maybe of each other.
Yeah, we get a little like Sugar Mountain-esque.
Love that
stand ability. And people are even saying, I forget who said it, but Silver Chariot, it is kind of similar to another stand that we saw.
Oh, okay. I wonder.
Yeah.
And then speaking of stands, since we're on the subject of stands, you said in this part there was one of your favorite stands in all of JoJo.
Yeah, the zombie.
Yeah.
Blue Hawaii.
The
Elvis stand.
Which, yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned, I was like, he looks like a lot like Elvis before he turned into like fried chicken.
Yeah. Man. Fried chicken man.
And yeah, that it's him. It's him with gray hair. Dolomite, I think his name is, right?
Yeah, that's the user's name.
Yeah, the user's name. Yeah, I love that. I was so obsessed. It was so frightening. I mean, it was so it was like one of the scariest stands ever. And especially just like it building on top of everything that was else going on, and then at the end we get to see like a baby get affected by it, but even like animals can get affected by it, and it just transmits through blood, which is like it was just and if they die, they're still controlled. It was like the zombie stand that I've been waiting for, and it made me just want a zombie manga from Araki.
Yes, dude.
Because this part is the most gore driven. I mean, he's in his gore bag. His gore bag.
It was extremely graphic at times.
Yeah.
And again, like for the most part, I enjoyed almost everything that we got in this chunk of chapters. There is a thing, of course, at the end that not like it didn't like really, really, really bother me, but it is just one of those like anime manga things where you're just like, God fucking damn
it's
it.
It's an Araki thing. I mean, he does it all the time where he takes characters to the brink of death where you're like, there's no way.
I don't care if you're a fucking stand user. There's no way.
They're getting crushed. They're getting their eyeballs like ripped out of their face. They're getting arms. He loves the arms getting ripped off. He loves the legs getting ripped off. I mean, they go past the point of no return, and somehow, some way, they come back. They're able to come back and be better than ever. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, how is that even it is for shock value. It hasn't happened too much in this part. But I remember other parts. I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
They just there's no way they're coming back from that.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought for sure, man. And I thought the way he went out too, I felt like he had kind of served his purpose. He had done what he needed to do. It also like, because there are times when a character might die and you're like, okay, but they still need to do these things. So they're probably not going to die. But he did what he said he was going to do. Like his role had been played, and I thought, okay, that makes sense for him to die. And then, of course, at the very end, he's just a pile of rags, and he's alive.
And he's like, "I'm fine, I'm good." I'm like, "God damn it!"
I was like, "This is why I hesitate to."
No. Yeah, I didn't. I was like, it was crazy because he was like one of the goriest deaths that we've seen, aside from like Weka. I think Weka people got it bad too.
Yeah.
Back in part 7,
got it bad. But there are times where I hesitate to respond to emotionally to something because I almost put up this wall because I feel like, I don't know, they could come back. And this time they did. Again, it's a super small thing, and I like the character. Like I want to see how he like continues to like how he continues to react and change the dynamic going forward. But like I don't know. It was just one of those anime manga things. Yeah. So overall, like just as far as like general thoughts go, really, really, really still loving this. Like I said, the first, we'll call them acts, right? The first act was a lot about mystery. The second act is a lot about answering those mysteries and establishing goals. And the goals, I feel like everybody has a really solid reason for wanting to achieve these goals. On the Jobro side and on the antagonist, Jobin, Tsurugi, Higashikita's side, everybody has solid reasoning. The stand battles, super fun, super creative, still like simple for the most part. There's some that get a little like crazy, but super fun.
Yeah.
And with the introduction of the rock people and the mystery of who this big bad is going to be, still like. We still have no information on who this man is. We still have no information on like what his goal is, how he's going to play into it. It's almost like I would guess, or I guess I would say like a Diavolo-esque situation, slightly differently, where he does feel like he is the head. Diavolo was the head of the mob organization.
Yeah, that's why I said it. It feels like we're gonna see the operation or people that want to get the fruit. We're gonna see. Because we saw how intense it is, right? They don't care who it is. They don't care if you work for them. Like, they aced poor Tom completely out. They didn't care. They took the branch and left. It was just not what they needed. So I feel like we're going to see more of the bigger picture when it comes to, like, the kaka fruit.
Yeah.
And who wants it and what people are willing to do to take it.
Yeah, and what their goal is. I mean, I guess it is eternal life, but
it's profiting off of that. It's profiting off of eternal life. It's like another avenue. It's like you can have like hospitals, things that like are always going to be around. And imagine if you got that into the hands that would just sell it and people would buy it.
Oh, of course. But what we were talking a little bit about it off mic too. The reason I'm so curious as to how it's going to progress. I mean, again, with JoJo, you can never predict where it's going to end up going, how things are going to change. But if, as it seems now, Josufume, the fusing of Josufume and Kira is something that has never happened. It's taking the equivalent exchange to another level. It's unlocked something new, a new breed, a new version of the kaka fruit, if you will. And from what I gather, it's because the branch was grafted to a tree that was planted in the soil of the walleyes. And that goes back to the lemon and tangerine chapter and how the soil causes things to fuse together. So it is because of all of these things that this fruit has now gained this new ability. But if people are to use it the way that like it was used with Josufume and Kira, then I would think that they would also have no memory as well, right? Like,
yeah.
Like how valuable is it? And maybe that's a question that will be answered. I don't know. I do think it's interesting. Like how valuable is eternal life if you don't even know that you're living it? Like, it's almost reincarnation.
It would be maybe helpful for like figureheads.
But their appearance would change slightly if it's a fusion on a like cellular level.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or a replacement fusion, one of the two. It's just interesting, and so I do have a lot of questions. I mean, I'm really intrigued, and I wonder if that's going to affect or play into the reasoning that this big bad has for wanting to get this fruit. Maybe they're trying to get it and to take it to the next level, which is like being able to retain your memories, being able to choose what you inherit from the other body, the other person. It is just insane with 34 chapters left that we know nothing about this individual. And I wonder what his role will be and how he will play into this third act. Yeah. Overall, though, again, it's not a part that can be, JoJo is like this in general, but it's not something that is easily comparable to another part because each part is so incredibly different. But in terms of like enjoyment, I would still put this below Steel Ball Run so far, even though I haven't completed it yet. But it is up there. It is really close in terms of how much I am really, really, really enjoying this part so far. With all that out of the way, general thoughts out in the open, let's start going through beat by beat to unpack things further. Where we left off was right after the stag beetle fight
incident and the Ferrari.
Yeah, between Josuke and Jobin. This leads Tsurugi and Yasuho leads them to investigate and find security cam footage of an interesting fellow carrying a potted plant.
Yeah. Right? And they find out he is a pro baseball player.
A security guard at a baseball stadium.
Oh, who's the pro baseball?
That was the guy whose jaw.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He works at a security guard, which is also something I really appreciated about the lore of the Rockmen, that they have to get jobs because this individual, one of the peddlers of this fruit, is a Rockman. They have to acquire jobs that allow them to go to disappear,
or just not have jobs,
Like they don't care. Most of them, 95% of them, are inherent stand users, They don't care about money. They don't care about humans. They don't care about society. They care more about the earth and things of the earth and nature. But they at times will like integrate themselves because humanity is expanding into the wilderness, into way more places than they ever have. So they have to, like, against their will, kind of, they have to integrate and pretend to be human.
Yeah.
But they don't care. They don't care about money, which is also interesting because clearly this group of rock people, they do care very much about money. Like, what is their real goal? You know? And maybe, it's a thing where you can't speak for all of them, right? Because we saw that with Dolomite. Dolomite was like, the reason I've lived this long is because I don't fucking ask questions. I don't care. I don't get involved with things. Like, so maybe it speaks for the majority of them, but maybe not all of them. Because this group seem to care about money a lot. But yes, this is a person whose identity we learned to be Asiho, or Aisho. Sorry, fuck. Can you try to pronounce this name for me, Mehgan? Because I will.
I mean, Aisho, I think. I don't.
Can you try to pronounce the last name?
Dainenjiyama. Why are you laughing?
Because it's hard.
You asked me to pronounce it and you laugh at me for my pronunciation?
It's just because it's funny because how I feel like
that was so rude.
Sorry. So yeah, this is where we meet the security guard, Aisho. We find out a little bit more about him via flashback. This is the flashback. This is the rock man that got cucked. We got a rock man that's a munch and a rock man that's a human fried chicken man, and we got one that's a cuck.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Yeah.
She was a piece of work. I really thought they were cute until I was like, oh, cute. Like, they're so cute. And I was like, oh, god damn.
Yeah.
Like, rough.
It was actually very rough. And it was really sad. Like, just something about that panel of him being a rock underneath the bed. I mean, it kind of like...
It awoke something.
No, it just kind of got me. I was like, oh my god, this is fucking dark.
Well,
dude.
I mean, he like trusted her. And he told her his secret, and she completely just took it and ran with it and said, oh, okay, yeah. So I'm going to like literally cuck you in your own house and then sell it. And then you're going to be stuck. And it's, It's like, what? But before that, his doobie wall, I don't know is that a reference to a song? I don't know. But doobie wall is his stand, right? And this part was fucking crazy. When we're seeing him, obviously, with the plant, and Sadugi and Yasuho is like, what is he doing? Like, what should we go pursue him? No, let's wait. And then Sadugi makes a little frog origami.
Paper moon.
And then we see him like give a fruit to like this old man, and he grows back his like, or he has a new leg.
He grows back a leg and then runs to
go
a very nice car with his wife, who is like, you could tell they're from money. And then immediately his eyes, and he's like, "I want to fuck you tonight."
Yeah, he traded
like when we were young.
He traded his eyes for pussy. That's what he did.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people would make that.
It's equivalent. I mean, it's like
is it equivalent? I don't know. But they don't choose. They don't choose what.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It could have worked not in his favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Eyes. I mean, I don't know. Look. I don't know if I would make that same trade, dude. I think I would genuinely rather have one leg than have no eyes. And his logic was like, I'll just pay for another fruit. I'll keep exchanging things until like I get an exchange that I'm like okay with. Because he even the wife was like, your eyes. And he's like, don't worry about it. I'll get another fruit. I'll figure it out. But yeah, I don't know. I would rather have my eyes than a fucking leg. And that's all right.
But he convinced himself he made the right call.
Yeah, I was like, bro, that's a horrible trade. That's a horrible trade. You lost two things and gained one thing. Bro, you can fuck with one leg. Like,
yeah, I don't know why that was stopping him.
And I thought in the moment when he was in the car, the old man, I thought he was going to immediately regret. I mean, they are upfront with these people.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's going to be an equivalent exchange. We don't know what it is. It could be this. It could be this. Most of the time, it tends to be these things. But I thought he was going to be like, upset. No. Yeah. And he was like,
fuck yeah.
And I was like, no, dude, you lost. You lost.
You won.
I guess. And the wife was like, okay, yeah, fuck it. Woo. Like, girl, you're going to fuck this man with rock eyes? You're nasty.
They're crumbling on you.
You're nasty.
They're crumbling all over you. And he's like, ha.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on now. Anyway, but whatever. I guess he was okay with that trade.
Yeah, this was another instance where I'm like, there's no fucking way. Like, he's stomping out that frog origami, and they're getting crushed.
Yeah,
like Sadugi's like getting physically like bloody and like crushed. I was like, what is gonna happen here?
Yeah,
like this is a child.
Yeah, they're pursued by his stand, which uses air. Mm-hmm. The air that they exhale, their breath.
Tornado air, breath air. Yeah.
And they're in quite the pickle. They have a hard time, of course, escaping from this stand ability, because again, it's once its targets have been set, once he
it's like
has
the
touched
heat one.
them, which he technically did touch them by stepping on Paper Moon.
It's like naranchas.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's an automatic pursuing stand. Mm-hmm. You can't flee. So I mean, they're trying everything to get away from this thing. And I want to say too that I really like how Paisley Park, Yasuo's ability in Paisley Park has been expanded on. I really do enjoy the imagery with the doors and making choices and going on instinct, and you're the way it's described, it's a really actually cool way of explaining it. She's using like a feeling, she's observing the wear and tear on these doors, the doors most traveled through to get to the information that she needs to get. I like it. That was something I was very worried about in the last part. Like, oh, this stand just seems like very convenient. But now that I'm getting to see how it works more, I enjoy it quite a bit. So they're after, they're being chased after, and it even leads to them being on a bus, and you know, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to make it. And I honestly even forgot how they beat this guy.
Sadugi made a bus look like his dad.
Oh,
yeah, that was the ending of it. And because he comes out and reveals himself, and he's talking to or he thinks he's talking to Jobin, but it ends up he's talking directly in front of a bus, and then he gets run over.
Yeah.
That was super sick.
But there was another thing. I mean, again, sometimes it is hard to remember every detail, but there was something that Yasuho was doing on the bus, and she thought she
rolled a paper doobie. Newspaper doobie.
She rolled a newspaper doobie. She was trying to control her breath, and then they were like holding their breath when they realized it was breath.
And then they ran into an ambulance and then put the oxygen tank. But then it was in the oxygen tank. Yeah. And then he gets run over by a bus that he thought was Jobin.
Yeah. I kind of forgot about that. But yeah, that was an insane moment. And Paper Moon King is formidable too.
I really am. Like, Tsurugi kind of gets a little sus sometimes, but I love Tsurugi. Tsurugi, I love every time he comes on page. He's just so, like, ready for it. Like, he's ready to fight. And I love his love for the rock dog. And, like, is the dog okay? Does he? Okay, good. I'm glad he's okay. And it's just like, oh, this is just a cute kid. And I am scared to see him get sick because it's going to happen soon. And who's gonna trade, you know?
I can't even fathom like how it's going to go. I don't know.
Jobin should just take one for the team.
Yeah. But
like, you saw it like happen with your mom. You know? That's why he was able
She really took one for the team.
She took one for the team.
She's literally a ride or die.
Yeah, and even his dad was like, "How are you alive?"
Yeah,
he was like, "Wait, how did you?"
That was something
skip
that
the curse?
I still don't like. I understand, but I don't completely understand, and we'll talk about it when we get there.
But yeah, that's the conclusion of the bus.
This guy was cool.
Bus fight.
This is part of the. This guy is part of the 3-man
rock team,
the rock gang that are sort of, and this is why it feels a bit like
or 4-man. It's like a 4-man because there's the brothers. They're 2.
Right.
Yeah, they're like they count.
But these ultimately, this group almost feel like the underlings. This is why I say that it feels a lot like part 5, in that we're working our way up through the ranks of this organization, and these guys are on the bottom.
Right, Capo.
Yeah. And these guys are at the bottom
Capo?
of that totem pole. So he's one of them. They take him out. He gets taken out. And then we shift to meeting another character who I loved.
She's a fucking queen. I love it. I love her.
Yeah.
She's so cool.
She's
so
really,
fun.
really cool. She is what a lot of people say they wouldn't do, but would probably do with her stand ability. Like, she like pretends that hair is in her food to get refunds. Like,
use it to get money.
She's a con artist too.
Yeah.
Like, when she was, because she even said, like, first of all, that scene of Josuke walking into the bathroom and seeing that man on his knees,
bro.
Yeah, that was crazy. But she's putting hair back on his head, but then says, like, when they get far enough away, the hair's gonna fall out. So
I have to be careful. I have to watch myself.
Yeah. But how she's introduced is awesome. I loved it because she seems to know who Josuke is, which is also crazy because even after we find out who he is, he don't look like Josefume. Do not look like Josuke.
I mean, they have similarities, but I would think that Carrera would put 2 and 2 together of like, this guy looks like this other guy, but he also is wearing exactly the same outfit as the other guy that I also knew. So,
but she's like completely removed from this world. She has a stand, but I
love her stand too. Love Deluxe.
And
like, the look
awesome.
is
the design,
so sick.
Super sick.
Yeah.
Super sick. But yeah, she knows who he is. She calls him Sechan, and even knows Kira, but doesn't know Kira as well, because she says when she first sees him, like, there you are. Like, why are you dressed like that Kira guy? So she you could already tell that she's not close to Kira, but she knows who Kira is. So, of course, Josuke takes advantage of this and wants to get close to her, but he's very careful about what information he reveals because he doesn't know who he was, who she is, what her real relationship with
If
him.
she's lying.
If she's
yeah.
lying. But this was like one of, I don't know why this shit was so funny to me. But this is the moment too where like Yasuo and Josuke, because Tsurugi and Yasuo have been running around doing the thing.
Getting crushed and
And Yasuo and Josuke like reunite. And Yasuo is so fucking geeked. She's lit. She's like, Josuke, it's been so long. Like grabbing him, hugging him, like this girl is bad down. She's in love, dude. She's even trying to hold his hand and she's just looking up at him and she's like, Josuke, sing me a song, Josuke.
It was him. It was I like large pizza. I like large pizza. I like large fries, but not fried chicken.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's so
wow,
beautiful. Is it
such a good
famous?
song.
Is it a famous song? It was just so funny.
Where's that from? And he's like, I imagine like sometimes it is, you could get the energy, but sometimes it's hard to see exactly how the energy is playing out. But I imagine him being like, I made it up. Like he does seem like he's not, because this isn't.
No, but he was into her though. He was like thinking about her, he was hoping that she's safe,
yes.
and he likes her too. But it's just,
but
don't know.
in this moment, it's just bad timing. Because you're absolutely right. He was stressed with the architect
like,
fight.
Where is she? Is she sleeping in the bed? They're like, she's fine. She just went home. He's like, oh,
yeah.
Like
he was stressing hard, and he was bad down. But it just feels like so much has happened. Like his head is everywhere. That when she's like reciprocating those feelings, he's not present. He's not mentally present, and especially because he sees this girl who's like talking to him in a way that seems like familiar, and he's like, "I'm gonna go." And she's like, even Yasuo's like, "Where are you going?
Who is that?" I'm just kidding. No.
And he's like, I can't tell you. Don't worry about it. I'll be back.
It's all good.
Yeah. This is a very cool point in this chunk of chapters because it is where we start to get almost everything.
Yeah.
Which at the time of reading, you were really curious about, not concerned about, but curious about because it felt like it answered every question you had. Therefore, you were wondering where it was going to go.
Yeah.
But this is the beginning of it. That's where we get the rock human explanation and the fight with the Fex brothers.
And they see, I guess seemingly cursed interactions as they fall in love with a human. I don't know if that'll play into what happens later, but we've already seen it, I guess, maybe like 2 times.
Right. This fight was really cool too. And again, when we meet Cordero, the reason we love her so much is just because of, again, how she just doesn't give a fuck. She is someone who wants to just like make her way. She wants to like cut corners or I don't know, laze her way through life. Like she doesn't want to earn money. She just wants to keep conning her way.
But she did say
life.
she wants to be a fashion designer.
Yes.
At the end.
But that's also funny too because she's like, I don't have any money. Like she's basically homeless.
Yeah.
She's like sleeping at train stations, and she's like, she borrows money from Josuke, buys a laptop, and Josuke's like, why are you using this money for a laptop? She goes, because I want to be a fashion designer, and I'm gonna need a laptop. Like her priorities. She kind of just seems like one of those people who, I don't know, not coasting through life. It's hard to articulate in this moment, but you know what I mean. Like we all know these people who are like, I'm gonna need one eventually. And it's like, yeah, but you also should probably figure out where you're going to live, where you're going to sleep before you worry about getting a laptop. Like that's so far ahead of like where you need to be, like what you need to do. Yeah. So they're on their way to Kira's house, and that's where they fight the Fex brothers, who is these twins who are rock people that like use a soccer ball. One of them has a soccer ball
in it. Yeah.
I like this too. I like these guys. I like the.
I didn't expect them to get taken out so quickly.
That's what I like about it too.
Yeah.
Though. I was like, this is cool. They're cool.
Came out.
Their stands are cool, but I like that the fight is like.
They set her on fire and they said bye.
That shit was crazy, dude. I thought she died.
Yeah, I mean, people just get set on fire all the time in the story.
Yeah.
All the time. We see it again with Papa Higashikata.
Yeah.
He gets literally burnt, like he's on fire, bitch. Like, stop, drop, and roll. Like,
Bro, I understand that it's too, like, stand abilities kind of undo themselves when the stand user is taken out. But some of these things, I just don't know how you come back from them, dude. Like, I just don't. Anyway, but yeah, she's set on fire. I was so taken aback in that moment. I was like, oh my God, she's going to get fucking burnt alive right here. And I thought it was, again, going to happen because this was Josuke's only link to his past.
Mm-hmm.
So I did feel like it was going to be this thing that was dangled in front of us and then immediately taken away because we weren't going to get those answers till later. But it didn't happen. He was able to beat them.
And she helped too. She did set them on fire as well.
Yeah. And this is where she finds out about the equivalent exchange. And
she gets scared too.
Yeah. And she kind of like, I think, runs off and is like, we'll
she's like, I didn't think it was going to be this serious again, or like this serious. Now it's taken another, it's going too far. And I'm like, what's going too far? Like when she finds out about Kira's death, she's like, freaked out.
Because she's mentioning like fruits and plants, like
she knows.
So it's like, damn, who is it? How much does she really know? And then she kind of takes off. So that, of course, leads us into Hotto's boyfriend and Josuke's past, which I would say for me, obviously, this is my favorite chunk of chapters.
Like, yeah, it was so funny. And it was so sad, too. I mean, I felt really bad for him. He was like, he knows about Kira, but he doesn't know about, he does kind of know about Josefumi, but he's like, why is no one looking for me then? Like, I love how he's really taking both sides of both people.
Yeah.
Like, people are like Kira, he has the connections, but no one's looking for Josefumi. They're all looking for Kira, or they all want to know about Kira. And he's like, but I'm Josefumi but I'm also Kira. It's like, he's having a hard time.
Yeah. I loved everything about this chunk of chapters, from the reveals that we get, from vitamin C, from the stand ability,
Hotto stand,
Hotto stand, the comedy, like everything about this was like peak Jojolion.
Yeah. I love the reveal, and he's like taking his identity. And just, I was laughing so hard at the toupee bit. It was so fucking funny. And I love he's like, I'm 23 years old. Or like, obviously
that
you're
shit
fucking
was
not.
Fucking hilarious. That took me out.
Yeah. It was just like one after another after another. I was just dying. It was hilarious.
And the bit too, because Daya can't see well. So she's like, is he hot? Is he cute? Or is he sexy? Like, what vibe is he? He has to be one of those things. And they're like, no comment. But it was so funny too, because clearly you can start to tell at a certain point that she's like being controlled to a degree, or that she's been manipulated to a degree, because this man is not who he says he is. But at first you're like, it has to be like a money thing. And then you find out he runs a laundromat. It was just like, I don't know. It was so goofy. And I thought this was going to be a goofy side story, funny moment. But it ended up being one of the coolest parts. I mean, vitamin C and like
the body horrors. I mean, insane.
Yes. How this stand operates, and how like something about, I mean, I can't help but think like, damn, dude, I know people, I mean, me included, like really want to see Steel Ball Run like animated well. But if they nail Jojolion, I mean, it's just a whole nother, I don't know, man. It's just a whole nother level, because there's something so cool about this guy like slowly taking like a dollar bill out of his wallet and then just like folding the dollar bill and using that to like cut through people like butter. Like, I don't know. It visually, it's so
and making a
freaking
freaking fish swim into your body. Like,
yes, dude. Like when he put the, when he like, even like in a very sinister way, like picks up the glass and like puts it into Papa Higashikita's hand, and then his whole hand falls, and then he goes to put it up to his mouth, and it like goes through his mouth. This is just like so fucking cool to me. Like the body horror and the gore, I love it, dude.
Yeah, he's in his bag.
Yeah, dude. I really, really, really like this so much. But anyway, through the flashback, this is where we find out who Josefumi is. We find out his past. And I'm going to get some stuff wrong. That's why I appreciated the comment left on our previous video from Robo Crafts. There are going to be a few things I might not get exactly right, but feel free to correct us, and please do in the comments. But Josufume ends up being revealed he's a Kujo.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it said that his father's name, the kanji in his father's name, is similar to Jotaro's dad. And the Kujo, I think, comes from his mom, which is similar to like the other universe's version of Holly, right? So it's almost kind of like he is this universe. We had talked about the maid being potentially a version of Jotaro in this universe, but it's kind of like he also could be a version of Jotaro in this universe. But just still, the Easter eggs, like really, the reimagining of it all, really, really cool. His mother was a young mom. Like I do love that story too. Like she was a young mom who I guess like didn't really want to have a kid, but just had a kid, and is like kind of like going through this crisis of like wanting to still be young and do young people stuff, but can't. So she's like blaming her child. Josufume drowns and she hides, and he sees that.
She ducks.
And then he is later either by her or by somebody else fished out of the ocean or washed up somewhere. I don't know exactly. And he's taken to the hospital where he meets Holly, and he even meets Kira. Or Kira is in the vicinity as well, because Kira uses Killer Queen to help
save him. Yeah,
save him. Yeah. And from that moment on, he is endeared to Holly because of just the love, the maternal love that she gave him. Because it went beyond, like, I think for him just being a nurse. Like, she was the one who cared for him like a mother should have cared.
Yeah.
And then he kind of didn't really talk to them for a while. Like they didn't stay in contact.
Yeah.
He didn't come across Kira until way later. But we do find out that this is when, slowly as time goes on, the disease starts setting in. And that's where Kira, who is a ship doctor, which I also love the way the story is framed, because it said like it all started with like a flying fish or something like that. And I'm a sucker for that. Like reverse engineer that, whatever. Take me back. How do we get to where we're at from that? I love that. And it's, of course, he was a ship doctor. He discovered like a rock person because of an accident.
Investigating and getting to the bottom of it.
Started figuring out like what these things did. Then wanted to use it to grow a fruit to heal his mom. So then Josufume gets involved. Because of his connection to Holly, and they both decide like, okay, yeah, this is something we're going to do together. But it's important to remember that they're not really friends.
No. They're more like colleagues.
Yeah. And they become like reacquainted or somewhat acquainted for the first time in Josufume's case. But that kind of plays into like what happens later. And they come up with a plan. Like, okay, we need to steal the fruit. Josufume says we don't need to steal it. We could just steal a branch. Their plan is way fucking smarter than Yasuo and Tsurugi's plan. Their plan, bro, they got fucking caught. That's what I was thinking too, because we just saw this whole version of these same events happen, and then these two people failing miserably. And then we see Josufume and Kira attempt it first try.
They're like, we got it.
That whole like plan with the eye drops and how like he was gonna pretend like they're a hot commodity.
That was so funny. And he's like, I'm gonna get one for like, he's like, I just wants it.
Yeah.
They just know his like nature.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
So cool. The eye drops are gonna make it harder for him to see things. He's gonna graft a branch, and that's why he took a photo of it. He's gonna graft it back exactly. Really clever, really cool. And they're able to do that successfully, and they start growing these fruits. But of course, a vitamin C, the stand user, I forget his name.
His name is Damo?
Yeah.
Tamako Damo?
Yeah. He finds out because they weigh them all, and it was off, or it had gained more weight, and so
it's really drug related.
Like
pushing drug fruits. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This is part 5. And so they confront him on this boat. And we also see Carrera in that situation too. And we find out that like she's just a fellow like student that has a crush on Joseph. Yeah. And that's the extent of her involvement in all of it. But the situation gets absolutely insane because he uses vitamin C on them, cuts out like Kira's liver, tells them that one of them can survive. And because, like I said, they're not really friends, they're just kind of like doing this for Holly. Like Joseph is going to squeal and talk so that he can live, but they end up escaping because of an explosion. And I love the moment where Joseph like confesses, like, "Hey man, before we go any farther, like I was gonna tell.
Yeah.
I just feel like I have to tell you that.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna say something." This understanding between the two of them. He's trying to save Kira. There's 2 fruits. He still thinks Holly can have one. If he gives Kira one, he gives it to him. The equivalent exchange happens, but it's different this time. He starts like losing body parts, and Kira's dead too. Like he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. His eyes are like glossed over.
Yeah,
he's already dead.
And so they realize that or we as the audience are realizing like something is different about this fruit and how it's exchanging versus how we saw the old man like experience the equivalent exchange, and this is how they become like fused. So we get all of it answered.
He decides to do that.
Yeah. And he decides that was a fucking awesome like monologue.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
This shit like touched me. He confessed. I think while Kira was kind of still alive, even though he was on the brink of death, Kira dies, right? He clears his conscience, and then he struggles and has that moment of like, look, I have like I died a long time ago. I died in the ocean, right?
Yeah, no one like wants me. Like it was so sad.
It was so sad. It's so like it touched me. The only person that like gave me life, the only reason I'm here is because of Holly. And if I can play any part in like prolonging her life, returning that favor, then I'm willing to sacrifice myself. And it was the way he said it. Like, I'm willing to sacrifice myself because like I haven't existed like anyway. And I was just like, holy fuck, dude. Like it was beautiful. Like it was beautiful. Anyway, and we figure out that like they kind of do, and we kind of knew this, but they kind of become like a new person. They're not fully Kira. They're not fully Joseph. They are a combination of the two.
Yeah.
But that kind of plays into him struggling with his identity, which he was struggling with in the previous chunk of chapters. But that's it. I mean, we get all the answers there.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy seeing it between this fight too.
Yeah. Like cutting back and forth, between the vitamin C thing. And like you said, like seeing Hotto's stand ability.
So crazy.
And like it was so cool, man. This is like peak fucking JoJo shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like this everything. These couple of chapters are absolutely insane. Like I would say maybe once this whole arc starts with the boyfriend, Hotto's boyfriend, like all of it is like peak from what I've seen in JoJo. And then it keeps getting better and better. Like we get to see the introduction of the mom after the whole fight with a walking heart and everything like that. And then we get to see her in prison. And that was like a callback to obviously part 6.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, we love you. We're going to miss you. So funny. But yeah, we get this new character that we had no idea was even existed because there was never even an inkling that she existed. It was like she's sick or she died. Like, but she's here.
But to your point too about wondering where it was going to go in that moment, because they end up taking him out, like you said, like that was so satisfying that Hotto was the one that like took him out. But now like even him was saying like the architect, the twins, like the security guard, like this was my gang, like they've all been taken out. So it's like, okay, well, like who's left? Like they're all taken out.
It's very similar to Golden Wind, where we get to see the underlings, like that group with, the group that had their one of their members cut into pieces into whatever. Like it's that's that group that we saw, I think.
And then like you said with the meeting of
Hotto,
of the mom, when the Stone Ocean like prison uniform was revealed, I was like, no fucking way, dude. Like, no fucking way. I was even wondering, like, I don't know. I even thought for a brief moment, like, is this going to be like an alternate sort of like, it couldn't be a Jolene.
No.
But I don't know. The way that the hair looked and everything, I was like so intrigued on the edge of my seat. Who is this character? I was just like really giddy from just seeing that. And then we find out it's the mom. And she's funny too, dude. The way that she was introduced and Papa Higashikita's reaction to her, you'd think that she did something fucking awful, dude. They even say, like, you killed a child. Like, I will never forgive you.
Yeah, that's pretty awful, but you don't know the context.
But then you find out and you're like, she's a hero. She's a hero.
She saved Morio.
She saved Morio from this fucking little monster, dude.
What if he was going to grow up to be that killer?
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. The one that we met in the very beginning of part 4, the serial killer. Wow. That's interesting.
That was like the absolute worst of the worst.
Yeah, dude. He was talking about R wording.
I mean, this kid was too. Or no, the serial killer. Yeah.
That's funny. That's an interesting thought. Like, I wonder if there's a connection there. But yeah, off the bat, like, we don't know this yet. We just know she killed a kid, so we think she's bad too. I mean, Daya and fucking Joshu, dude.
Joshu, yeah. I mean, we where is it? We're getting a little ahead of ourselves because after she just gets introduced and then we go into like the Milagro Man stuff.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the Milagro Man was a little cool. Like that, I say was like super similar to Rohan, the Spoke. Like that was a little confined, own story of Joshu just being a rich kid that also wants to steal things. Joshu. He just wants to steal things and he doesn't care about anything but himself. And there are moments where I'm like, he's like really standing up. He's being cool, but just the way he goes about shit, I go up and down, but mostly down. He's just the worst. He's just the absolute worst.
He is the absolute fucking worst. And he has these moments, like during the whole Milagro Man stuff, where you're like, he's still kind of a bad dude because he took this guy's wallet and he kind of like got what was coming to him in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But he is this like, and I guess you always love to hate him, but something about those 2 chapters, like I don't know, like you kind of come back around on him a bit.
Yeah.
And then he just like, it just all gets undone again when his mom comes back into the picture. But that chunk of chapters, like, I really did like it. I think Steel Ball Run did do that kind of concept of having to spend all this money and do all this stuff, even though it's not completely different, but it is different. I enjoyed it a lot more in Steel Ball Run, but I love this concept, and we talked about it too. This concept of taking something that people like probably wish they had and turning that on its head, making it evil, making it grim, making it dark, scary. Like, how would having too much money be scary?
Yeah, because you just keep gaining it. There's no way.
Can't spend it, or else you'll gain more of it, and then you have nowhere to store it, and then it becomes this whole thing. So yeah, that's like the end of the Milagro Man, and I really, really, really loved those 2 chapters. Mm-hmm. I loved them a lot, and even in a weird way, I kind of like came back around on Joshu until his mom, and
again, it goes like, okay, he's not that bad, and then it goes, okay, no, he's still bad. I don't know why I keep thinking that.
Literally, because they were so young when she went to jail, so they don't know what she looks like. Papa Higashikita's destroyed all the photos or whatever.
She's been in prison for like 15 years.
15 years. And he's like, who's this chick? And she's like, I'm your mom. Oh, if you're really my mom, let me suck on your titties for some breast milk. And like trips her over a chair. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. You're just like you're just goofy. Like you're goofy and you're cringy. And why do you do these things? Why are you this way?
He strikes again.
Yeah. Yeah, so she kind of comes into the picture. She's like, I'm going to be here because it's half mine. I'm not settling for this sort of treatment, like how you've treated me. I'm coming back to this family. I'm going to be a part of this family in some way, shape, or form, and get used to it. And we already know that her and Jobin have like a relationship because Hotto and Jobin were old enough to remember her, and Jobin being the oldest had more of a relationship with her. We'll see that play out more, but it already seems a little off because we're told that she's kind of like not a good person by Papa Higashikita. Jobin's on the phone, like coordinating with her.
And even when she did fall, the cards.
She's got a stand ability too.
Yeah.
She can put things between cards.
Yeah, and she even says, like, how dare you guys, like, treat me like this? Like, you have no idea, like, what I did. Like, I did it for the greater good. And you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, it's just very confusing in the beginning before it's explained.
It's the same shit that happened with fucking Papa Higashikita, man. Like, at the beginning, I thought he was, like, really bad and really evil. But then, like, I don't know, dude, as it goes on, even as it goes further into this part, it's like, he's a pretty good guy, I guess. Like, he's a pretty, he's just like a hardworking, like, salt of the earth. I mean, we see that.
Not too, like, materialistic.
Right, like, has success, but had to, like, work for it. You know, even though it's, like, something that's passed down generation to generation. Yeah, like, he's got a good, for being successful and rich, like, he's got a good head on his shoulders. We see that when him and Jobin go to like a ball game, like, and the same thing with the mom. Like, they set her up to be this like crazy, horrible person, and then in the flashback, you're like, okay, well, she's kind of like a dope ass mom. Like, she kind of did some like,
she just hit a body for her son. Pretty much.
She kind of had a
That's pretty much what she did.
Yeah.
But he was a bad kid.
He was an awful fucking kid.
He was going to grow into something much worse. I mean, he already was pretty bad. He wanted to kill people, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I think this is around that time too, where we start to see more about that, right? Like, we start to, and we'll just, since we're on the topic, we'll just go through it right now. The backstory, the flashback, because this kid who she ended up, she buried him alive, which is fucking kind of crazy, but he was an awful little boy who made Jobin like take pictures of his naked mom and like steal bras and steal panties. And this other girl or this other kid saw what was going on and like told some adults, because Jobin had this thing where he like couldn't remember events of like, that's also something that was just like, it felt like it was in the background of all the dialogue. The kid said it, the mom said it, but it wasn't ever this thing that was like elaborated on. Because in the woods, he was like, what does it fucking matter? Like, you're not going to remember anything tomorrow anyway. Like, he had this like thing where he would only remember the events of a single day at a time. It seemed like. Did you get that too?
Yeah, because she was trying to remind him of things, and she even wrote down what to do. He had like a bad memory.
Yeah, so maybe it was just that. He just had a bad memory. Maybe it wasn't like anything like more serious than that, but...
Or he's blocking it out from trauma.
Maybe that too. Maybe that ttoo. Shit, because this kid fucking sucked, dude. And this girl... told some adults, and he gets back to him. So he tells Jobin, let's burn this little girl's house down. And so he accidentally...
Jobin's like, no.
Yeah. In the heat of the moment, in the heat of being assaulted.
No pun intended.
Yeah. And this little boy telling him he's going to R-word his mom and everything, like, and kill him and do this and do that. His stand activates, and he thinks he doesn't... I don't know if he thinks he kills him or not, but he basically like almost kills him.
He's inebriated.
Yeah, like takes him out, panics, goes to his mom, and his mom doesn't fucking skip a beat, dude. She's like...
And she's pregnant.
Right, with Hotto.
Yeah.
Doesn't skip a beat, is like, all right, yeah, let's go to the shrine. Beyond the shrine, there's a hole. Let's just put him in there.
He's like, what? Shouldn't we call someone? She's like, nope.
Because how are you going to explain stand abilities? Like, she doesn't want Jobin to get in trouble, I don't know. Look, maybe I'm fucking crazy, dude. But,
you're not.
But it just was made to seem a lot worse. And she took the fucking blame for that. She took the fall. They found the kid later, and they found her DNA and everything.
On the back of the car and on him and in the fingernails, and yeah.
I'm trying to think too, even if my wife, because she obviously didn't explain, I guess, everything, but it's like, I don't know, maybe she tried. I just think it's so crazy that Papa Higashikita went so far as to like cut her out completely from her children's life. Take pictures of her down. She was defending your kid. Like, you
they don't know that.
Maybe she didn't have time to explain. I don't know.
Think, yeah. I mean, there's a phone call. Yeah, he cut her off.
He cut her off, dude. So now we know why Jobin is like so endeared to his mom, because his mom really fucking was there for him. In a completely different way, than or in the complete opposite way that Josefume's mom was not there at all.
And that was the equivalent exchange, right?
Yeah.
Jobin got to live because that kid was killed.
I think,
and that's because usually it's the firstborn son.
Yeah.
Gets the sickness.
Yeah.
So he was going to get it, and that's why the dad was like, "Why didn't you get it?" And was kind of like weirded out about it. But then it like turns out, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a murder that happened. That's why the dad was like kind of sketched out, and then it all came out.
Yeah. Which again, shit
it's
happens. Fine. It's fine. We move on. So yeah, this is also, I think, around the time, right, where Josuke is like going to visit Holly at the hospital.
Yeah, she's eating her own fingers. It's not looking good for her.
Yeah.
And the real enemy, the real antagonist of this story and many other people's stories is healthcare.
Yes.
And I think that we have to remember that.
That's some real shit.
Some real shit.
Like, no one's paying her bills. She's just gonna be here.
Yeah.
We're not gonna really do anything, but she's gonna just be here in this like side old nasty room.
Fucked up.
Yeah. And that's when Josuke really, really decides, like, okay, I'm doing this shit. I'm gonna pick, because he just kind of put all this shit together about the what him and Kira or Josefume and Kira were doing, and now he knows he is Kira and he is Josefume, so that is technically his mom. And even if it wasn't, he already.
They already have both. Both boys have a connection to Holly.
Exactly.
So he's the best of both worlds. Like he has those feelings, regardless if he was more of one than the other. They still have the same. I mean, obviously one is the mom, but yeah.
Yeah. So now, like, even though Kira and Josefume had that resolve, now Josuke has that resolve, and he's like, I'm gonna get this fruit for Holly no matter what.
Yes.
And I'm gonna start paying these bills too.
Pay these bills.
I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. And this is where we kind of go into the hunt for the new Lokakaka, and seeking the plant appraiser and all that. This is where like Mr. Higashikita.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Mr. Higashikita tells him like, okay, there's a plant appraiser. Like he only works for me. He's like the best of the best. Like he'll be able to, because they find out that they grafted the branch to a tree that was like on the Higashikita estate in their orchard, but they don't know which
branch, because they all look the same. And Jobin's like in the fucking branches at night, fucking scoping it out, and he's like, "Is that my son? What the fuck?"
Yeah. And so he's like, I know this guy, this plant appraiser, best of the best. He'll be able to tell which branch it is. Yeah. So you got to go find him, go talk to him, and he'll help you out. Don't tell anybody though. Don't tell Jobin. Like he's already starting to not really trust Jobin, and don't tell anybody in the family. Gives him a phone, and that's when the mom sees that exchange happen.
Tells her son.
Yeah, right away. So they're already on the way, and this is again.
This is where it got a little crazy. I mean, not with the.
This is where the zombie stand stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, just the build up to showing what the fuck was actually going on. Like he just goes to a park and has fried chicken.
Love it.
And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And he sings a fried chicken song, and and then he meets this like thing that's just living in the shrine area. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, he's a rock human, and that's what we were talking about with the shrine and the rock humans.
I know, but he did not. It wasn't like he looked like a rock. Before they showed the reason why he looks like that, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
it was very disturbing.
He was just a regular rock dude
who got electrocuted.
Who fell in love with this girl, and she I don't know why she ran towards the.
She was on that shit. Like, girl, get off of the electrical system. Like, maybe she did it on purpose.
It did kind of seem like that. It was just so odd because he was like, "No, get away."
Yeah, and then she just gets up and then leaves him.
Yeah,
she had her eyesight back, and her.
Yeah, I was a little unclear on that.
I thought, was she able to see or not, or was she just able not to walk?
She was able to walk. I don't know. It was weird because it was also kind of thrown in there too. And I was like, okay, I guess this guy.
He's like Blue Lagoon.
Is that guy? Yeah.
I want a Blue Lagoon with you, like the movie.
Because you had pointed out that his design is clearly based on Elvis, which I did not see.
It looks exactly like him. If you want to put a picture, it looks almost identical. I'm
It
surprised
does.
you didn't see it.
It does, but I mean, you had to like tell me that and bring it back to my attention for me to realize that.
But yeah, I felt bad for him. He got played. I mean, that's what happens when
They all get played, apparently.
that's what happens when a human and a rock human love each other. It always ends in demise.
Mm-hmm.
They're not meant to be.
Nope, they're not compatible.
Not compatible.
But this is like the whole zombie stand, moment.
Blue Hawaii.
He has said that he's like trying to stay out of it, and man, this was again. If vitamin C was peak, this was right beneath that, like so close.
So sick.
My
favorite.
The way it starts is already horrifying.
Yeah.
The old lady, like whose face, like everybody has to walk in a straight line. The face.
Well,
like,
it starts with a kid.
Well, it starts with a kid, yeah, first, and then
it starts with a what is it? Discount Emporio.
Discount Emporio. Yeah. That is exactly
because he's like, oh, here's a letter, sir. And he's like, oh, what the heck?
Yeah.
And he starts walking away, and then he comes back, and then he starts like beating his head because he's like walking directly straight, so he has to go through this thing and like a sign or something. And he's like, whoa, what the hell? And then he's getting chased, and he goes on the other side of the car, and then he's going through the car. Then he gets to the lady, and then the lady gets out, and then she's in this building, and she's going towards a wall. It's just insane. And the fact that we find out like very soon that like, yeah, this like they can be controlled whether they're dead or alive. Like it was just wild. And they're acting like zombie like, and they're trying to spread, disease. I mean, it was spreading the blood. That's what the hosts do. They want to infect as many as possible. So it was just like infecting.
Yeah, it was already terrifying. Walking in a straight line, very simple, but very dangerous, very terrifying. And when her face got peeled off and she kept walking straight, I was like, this is fucking crazy, dude. I thought he was going to be able to get away from it. But then the moment that we realized that it can affect like animals, like flies, I was like, this is fucking game over, dude. This is over.
He's trying to like get the like raid or whatever. Yeah. And then it gets like to the baby in the stroller. I was like, oh my God. And that's where he lost. I mean, he's like, I'm not going to curb stop a baby right now. So he gets infected.
That was a classic, dude. In all of JoJo, we've talked about so many things
That's
we
what
love
I'm
about
saying.
it. But I love that Araki, this felt like he was so just in his own bag, because what I've always loved about what he does is he takes a very simple concept and he pushes it so far to a point. And I've said this so many times before, but he pushes it to a point where like it feels like it's the farthest that anybody can and is willing to push it. And then he pushes it farther, and you're like, "Oh my God, dude!" Like that, like when you see the toppled over like baby carriage, you're like, "No fucking way!" And then it happens. I mean, it was just like next level fucking crazy shit. But then Josuke gets fucking possessed, and he like starts flying through the air or whatever. Like, or
he gets Vecna'd. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he gets Vecna'd to the shrine where that guy is at, and he kind of like starts making him walk into the water, and then gives him the lowdown. And the whole time Yasuho's like pursuing him, and then catches up to him.
She came in and hit that bitch.
She was on her shit.
Yeah, she was.
And Jobin like caught on to like Yasuho working with Josuke and tried to take him out, or tried to take her out. But then she used his like phone, GPS, whatever. And she's like, "Game over, you lost." And then he starts. The fried chicken man, he starts going on his whole little like, he starts doing his whole little speech about like the reason and it's funny because I didn't even think about it this way until Josuke says it later, but it does make sense because he's like saying like, the only reason I've stayed alive this long is because like, I don't know nothing, man. I don't know anything. I keep my head out, like my ears and eyes are closed. And Josuke's like, okay, bet for sure. And then later he's like, it felt like he wasn't talking to me. It felt like he was saying that out loud, so that somebody else could hear him say that. And that kind of like leads on to like where we kind of like leave off, because there's clearly more people there. But yeah, this was my number 2, my second favorite moment in the entire chunk of chapters. This whole stand battle with Blue Hawaii and Dolomite. This is where fucking Jobin goes to meet up with fucking poor Tom.
Oh yeah. But before then we meet Rai.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Before that, we meet Rai.
Right. Let me go up. Completely forgot about that. Not forgot about it, but you skipped that order. So yeah, now that they've defeated the fried chicken man, Dolomite, they can continue their journey on. Jobin lost all trace of like information, photographs, anything. He doesn't know who this appraiser is. So they can pretty much get there without being pursued. However, he picks them up in a bus, and they're already being pursued by another enemy.
Yeah. And
the whole time, I mean, I was like, what the fuck is happening, dude? Like, it's so awesome how it all goes down, but like the trees are following them.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's absurd. It's absurd. So they're like, he's like, I'm the appraiser. Priority number 1 is keeping me safe. Priority number 2 is keeping yourself safe. And priority number 3 is that Yasuho over there. Yeah, they go to this parking lot. He's like, I got a safe place. I got to get some supplies. I got to get some stuff, and then we're gonna do what we got to do. And Josuke's trying to show him the phone too, like, just tell me and you'll be safe. And he's like, it's not gonna work like that. Okay, they need me. They're already after me. Just come with me. So he takes him to his like safe place, his safe house, which is a ski lift. This man lives on a fucking ski lift, and every pole is like very creatively has different
bathroom, a kitchen, everything you need to live. It's on a different pole.
This shit was so funny and so JoJo, and reminded me, even though it's not the same thing, of like the guy who was living because of a stand, living in the electrical tower or whatever. Different, but it's just, this is JoJo shit right here. This is so fun, quirky, silly, goofy, but they're like he's making some sort of like dessert dish.
Yeah, it was oh fuck, I think it was tiramisu,
something like that. And I really do love everything that Araki is like kind of teaching us. Like usually I've complained in the past about like when a manga feels like it's trying to learn me something, but this time I don't know why I was like really interested in all the agricultural techniques and how he was able to like grow certain crops without pesticides, because he had like different strawberries at the base of the hill that
would take the hit.
Yeah, like I found this all very interesting. And he talks about these like these bugs that he has, and he needs these like larvae to go under the bark of the tree to get them to get the branch to produce the fruit. And they're pursued by these other 2 stand users who reveal themselves to be. And this was not my favorite.
Yeah, this one
but
was
not my, I didn't hate it.
This one was okay. Because we get to see like a rock dog.
Yeah.
But like not the rock dog that we know, like a nastier like rock dog. Like this shit disturbed me.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, I have like the whole wiki here, what their names were.
Wasn't it Brainstorm?
Oh, right here. Yeah. Brainstorm.
I don't know what the other one was. It was just a dog.
I think he'll be over here. So Urban Gorilla.
Yeah. It was Urban Gorilla and Dorsmultidu.
Yeah, dude.
Doremi
I think it's Dore.
Mi fa sol la ti do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dora la sa fa sa ma
No,
ti do.
Dore.
You could do it better than me. Do it again.
Do re mi fa sol la ti do. Like do re mi.
Yeah. I just can't do it. Sometimes it's like super califragilisticexpialidocious.
Wow, it was really bad.
I know. Anyway, yeah, these guys are they kind of remind me of that other duo from part 5. The doctor guy. There was a doctor.
Oh yeah, and then a guy who acted like a dog.
Yeah.
And he acted like his dog as his pet. That's
Yes.
exactly what it is. You nailed it on the head.
I was like,
You
this is
nailed it.
exactly
That was nastier.
imagined version of this. Yeah, well, yeah, they're both pretty nasty.
He doso for me latu pati do. He's scary to me.
And this is when they start getting on this whole thing about rock animals and how there's this whole like rock thing. I don't even really think like this was cool, but I don't even think it's worth spending like a whole lot of time on.
No, it is just like a fight, and by the end of it, the appraiser's like, you know what? You're okay.
Like
Yasuho.
Josuke, you're okay, and Yasuho, you held
You're
held it
okay.
down.
I still don't really like you.
Yeah.
But you're fine.
Yeah.
You know, you're better than you were before, I guess.
Right.
And we see that, and then we get Yasuho's backstory and about her dad. We kind of talked about it in the beginning, but like, you know, her mom and her dad, and her mom divorced, and you know, she wanted to see him and get a hairpin so he would call her cute, and then he decided to remarry or have a girlfriend, and I can't see you on Sundays because I'm gonna see her now and have a kid. And she had this clip that she bought at a flea market, and then I'm still unclear of what happened. Did it kill him?
Bro, it looked like he fucking got
eradicated.
Yeah, it looked like he got freaking Thanos snapped.
That's what I'm saying. Is that why she wanted to end her life?
Yes.
Because she killed her dad.
I think so. Or it might have just been from, because it didn't look like, I was trying to figure that out too.
Or did she just like, was she imagining that?
No, I you know, it could have been symbolic. Like he was
fading away.
He was fading from her life.
But
I think it might have been, she might have had that response just from like of wanting to like unalive herself from the news.
That's what I'm saying, because maybe she was just imagining him, like fading away, and then he left or whatever. It was just very confusing.
But he was playing with the hairpin thing.
He was, but
you know what? I think I got it. I even in us talking about it right now, I think I got it. Because she wanted to unalive herself because of what he told her. Her dad was a big part of her life. Like she wanted to impress him. She wanted him to love her. She wanted him to be her dad. So when she already had her own issues, so when he told her that, she went and locked herself in this room and wanted to unalive herself. Her dad basically told her, this is the last time I'm going to see you.
Yeah.
So that did happen. He did get eradicated. And I don't even think they ever found out. Like, because he had just got done saying, I'm never going to see you again.
And the mom wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, the mom wouldn't give a shit because she probably already knew how he is and who he is. That's why she doesn't choose to talk about him all the time. So when, like, he just turned to dust, they just thought, like...
No one else looked for him?
I don't know. Maybe he didn't
even
tell his
symbolic
previous
or was
wife
it real?
about... Like, it was real. And symbolic. But I think maybe he didn't even tell his new wife about his old family. And that's why he was saying that he couldn't see them anymore. So even she was like, where did he go? And maybe she thought he did what he did to the Yasuho's family. Like, he abandoned me too. Fuck this guy. But that was crazy. That was Yasuho's
and
past was like, yeah.
Rai's just like, don't give a fuck. Don't want to hear your whole life story.
That was fucked up. I was like, bro, everybody else gets to, I mean, they weren't telling it to you. But everybody else gets to have, like Josefume and everybody else gets to have, Jobin gets to have their backstory told, exposited to us, told to us. And poor Yasuho, like, I don't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah, don't need to hear your whole life story. Thank you. I was like,
thanks. I was like, Yasuho, I wanted to hear it.
Yeah,
I wanted to hear it.
I heard it.
Thank you.
She's like, she had like tears rolling down her face. He's like, yeah, don't care. Bye.
Yeah. And then later Josuke's like, where'd she go? He's like, I don't know. Some fucking hairpin shit. She's going to go figure it out. Yeah.
I know. He's like hates her.
He's funny
for no reason.
And that's pretty much where we start to get into the and by the way, I loved that whole sequence of events too.
Yeah.
The ski lift shit was fucking awesome, dude. So fun. But that's where we get into the poor Tom sort of like portion of this of these chapters, like mini arc. And poor Tom's so funny, dude. He's definitely the JoJo equivalent of the Warner Brothers, like Roger Rabbit baby, whatever.
Yeah, it's like the secretary, and he's smoking cigars and shit. Yeah, that's him. 100%.
Dude, this shit was so fucking funny, man. The whole like thing of him in the parking lot took me out. That's what I'm saying. The comedy, like Steelball Run, is funny. JoJo is funny, but this shit is fucking next level. He's like, hey. I imagine him talking like the guy from the dub, the Mushoku Tensei dub.
Yeah, that's that's exactly how I imagine it too.
He's like, hey, whoa, hey, Jobin, chill. And Jobin's like, what? You see that girl getting over there? Yeah. She's fucking checking me out, dude. He's like, and her back, and she's getting into her car. He's like, No. Dude, the way she's just like putting her ass out, and I can see she's like showing me her thing between her legs, her little
nasty.
and he's like, don't use that angle to like be a creep. And he's like, I'm telling you, dude, she's sticking her ass basically in my face. I got a date with my girlfriend later.
What am I to do?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Like, oh my god.
And Jobin and the audience were like, this guy's just a fucking creep. And then she drives away and throws the number out. He's like, I told you. I was like, and then he's like eating her out later. I was like, bro, poor Tom is a munch maniac, dude. This guy's crazy. That shit took me out, bro. When he was like under the blankets.
Nasty.
That was crazy. Anyway. But he meets with Jobin and tells Jobin, like, okay, look, since we don't have the info, we don't know what the appraiser looks like. We don't have the branch, like we don't know. We're just gonna go to your house, plant this like Lego house, and it will create a
Lego
barrier.
White House.
Yeah, it'll create a barrier, and it'll allow my stand like Ozone Baby to like stop anybody from going into the orchard. So we're basically like, what he told Jobin at the time is if we can't have it, nobody can.
Yeah.
Right. So Jobin's like, all right, I'll go do that. And he does, and he realizes very quickly
backfire
that it is going to bite him and his whole family in the fucking ass. We also failed to mention too, like that we find out the plant appraiser's stand ability, which is called doggy style,
bro.
And he's like, I'm gonna. This is a point later on, like doggy style. When it was first introduced, I kind of chuckled, but there's a line later on where he's like, where he says, I forgot how he says it. He's like, you know how I'm gonna do it, right, Josuke? And then he's like, doggy style, and I was like, oh my god. But I forgot to mention that he unravels like I think they say like an apple, the skin of an apple, or something like that. So that's how they're able to go. Like they go into it under the appraiser and Josuke go into this bunker, and they're able to put the bugs to stretch out, unravel, put the bugs on the branch, and they say in like a couple of days they'll be able to harvest it and like continue to like grow it or whatever. So Jobin's like keeping an eye on all this shit, right? And Tsurugi comes in and starts questioning him, like,
yeah, like, are you doing bad stuff?
Yeah.
He's like, what? He's like, I saw you outside. What'd you bury out there? He's like, why are you fucking looking at me?
He's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, huh? Excuse me? He's like, yeah, you're just being freaking weird, dude. Tell me what's going on. And he's like, I'm doing this for our family. And
I'm saying Tsurugi's so funny.
Tsurugi is funny.
It's so funny.
And that's, I think, like around that time too is when we get that flashback and of them at the ball game too. Because Jobin is like saying that Mr. Higashikata is like, too soft.
Yeah. We need to be powerful. We need to do this. Your times are changing, Dad. We need to do this. And he's like, I mean, we don't have to be powerful. We're a fruit shop. Don't have to be powerful.
He's like, people are always going to want fruits. We just got to keep being good at what we do.
Yeah.
That's all we got to do. We just got to keep being the best. Nothing else matters. And Jobin's like, it does matter.
It does actually matter. I want more benefits. I want people to fucking kiss my ring.
He's like, yeah, we got to start importing stuff. And he's like, no. I just love that whole conversation between the two of them because it really does establish like who Jobin is, the dynamic that he plays. Because of that one line, like when he's complaining about not being able to get dugout seats, and then he says like, yeah, and I called that French restaurant, and they couldn't even get us reservations. And he's like,
they're full.
Yeah, he's like, they're full. And he's like, that's why you just fucking call earlier. Like, just call earlier. Like, you're not a celebrity, dude. He's like,
yeah,
we supply them fruits though. And he's like, so like, just like, it's just how
it's easy
society operates, Jobin. Like, things aren't going to be fucking handed to you. Like, you don't get special treatment. Well, we should get special treatment. And he's like, I've raised a fucking idiot. But yeah, so that's where, like, you know, that's why he's like, we got to do things different than your grandpa does them. But Tsurugi and the Rock Dog, like, they start getting fucked up.
Yeah,
and we start to realize that
really bad.
Yeah, really
bad. It's bloody. Doesn't look good for them, like, at all.
At all. We realize that Ozone Baby's ability is like air pressure, which is very scary. And they're able to. This is another situation where I thought Tsurugi's fucking dead, dude.
For real?
He almost got like crushed, flattened. It was insane. But they're able to like get back in the storage room, and then you see everybody else like laying on the floor throughout the house. Like, it was very terrifying.
And even Ozone Baby's like, Even poor Tom's like, oh fuck, okay, yeah, fuck. Like she answers the phone and she's like, oh yeah, like are you gonna?
Well, no, because of what Jobin did. Like
Yeah.
Jobin did like a fucking baller, but like super stupid and risky thing. Because he's like, we got to make poor Tom come. Because poor Tom, his stand ability is automatic.
That's what I'm saying.
Set,
yeah.
So
he didn't
like,
even know that it was happening yet.
No. He knew. Like
Poor
that
Tom?
that was poor Tom's. Yeah, that was what
He
poor
knew
Tom
what-
wanted to do.
He knew that it activated?
Yes. He wanted to do that. Because even Jobin was like, in that moment, he was like,
oh, I'm getting fucked.
Yeah. He's like, fuck. This was what he really wanted to do the whole time.
Got it.
He was pretending like.
Got it.
But he wanted to take everybody out so that
yes.
he could come get the branch himself.
Yes.
Because he kept thinking like, if nobody comes like to do this, then it'll wilt and we won't get the fruit. He's not telling me something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that Tsurugi moment where he's like, oh, I fucked up.
Yeah, I fucked up.
Because it was going to kill all of them.
Got it.
So he's like, okay. How do I get poor Tom to come here? And how do I get him to like undo this shit? So he sets the whole orchard on fire, which was a crazy move.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he got lucky enough to not set the branch on fire. But that's what makes poor Tom go, oh shit, I got to go over there.
I got to get over that. I got work to do. I'm sorry. Pulling up his pants or anything else.
Jesus Christ. And so, cut back to the appraiser and Josuke now, who have just planted these bugs on the branch. Now they see the orchard on fire and they're feeling the pressure too. They're like, fuck, okay, well, we got to go back there or go out there. And the pressure in here, it's going to gradually get stronger and stronger and stronger. But when we go outside, when we open the door, it gets like life-threateningly strong, exponentially strong. So Josuke creates these bubbles that'll like keep the same air pressure inside of them and gives this whole speech, right, about Holly and about like Mr. Higashikita. And he's like, I'm going to go out there. And the appraiser's like, you know what? You inspired me. Not with everything that you said. Like, you said some shit that was kind of dumb and goofy and silly. But you really got me with the Mr. Higashikita stuff. Like, we find out that the appraiser really, like, loves Mr. Higashikita because of their relationship.
Yeah.
Like, we even get his, like, small, short backstory, which was that, like, he had a farm with his parents.
Yeah.
And their secrets got stolen and they lost everything. And Mr. Higashikita like was the first person to like believe in him and buy his fruits. Whatever.
That was nice.
It was. So he's like, I'm gonna go out there, Josuke. You're not going out there. I'm going out there.
And they go, boys. Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes out there, and this was so fucking cool the way it was depicted in the manga because he stops and Josuke's like, "What are you looking at? Like the branch is right there," and he's looking off.
It's fucking
poor Tom.
Poor Tom.
Yeah. Fucking
hiding in the fucking
Tom.
bushes, like.
So he like grabs both of them, and then it's like a battle between like air pressure and poor Tom.
Poor Tom's just talking shit too.
Yeah.
Poor Tom's just talking shit the whole time, like "fuck you, bitch." Like,
yeah.
You think you're gonna fucking actually like get me, bitch? Like, he's just like
he's
really vulgar.
And it's like, is he gonna get like fucking snapped in half first, or is the air pressure gonna take out the appraiser first? And then they use these like poisonous seeds and all
the
that.
English you.
Yeah. And this is where it looks like they might lose and where the appraiser fucking dies.
Like a horrible, gruesome death.
A horrible, gruesome death that nobody, even a stand user, should be able to come back from. But he does, obviously. So then it looks like, oh, fuck, like the branch is snapped off. Now everybody knows which branch it is and where it is.
And poor Tom is like on it. He grabbed it. He has it, right? And he's like, I got the branch. Like, fuck you, bitches.
I'm going to go eat some pussy.
Oh.
You know? Like poor Tom. Poor Tom shit. You know what I mean? Like he would do that shit.
That was insane. Ew.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ends up doing that. And it was so crazy because he does, like, he's going to the ambulance. He's like, I gotta get to my people. And they take that shit and drive away.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Because, the whole time, he never had the right branch.
No.
The whole time.
No, they played him.
And so, he's even, like, tripping out on Josuke because he's like, Josuke, if you just, like, he's like, I'm trying to run away.
Yeah.
And if you just let me run away, like, it'll be a lot less painful for you. But he keeps pursuing. He hears the ambulances. He's like, these are my comrades. So he already knows that there are people in society who are, like, working with him. He's like, these are my comrades. They're coming for me. And right when he's about to like get whatever he needs to get, he gets taken out. Bam, like headshot, like taken out. And somebody just steps, all we see is their feet. They just step down, they grab the branch, and then they leave.
Yeah.
And Josuke's like, fuck, dude, we lost. Cut back to Tsurugi and Jobin, and we find out that like Paper Moon was used on poor Tom and Josuke to make them see
crazy
every branch like the right branch. And even later, I think, to like trick Mr. Higashikita or
into
whatever.
thinking like Tsurugi was just like hanging out with a cactus, and it was ended up being.
But the cactus was still physically there.
No, it was Jobin.
No, they planted the branch in the cactus. Remember?
Then he just didn't see Jobin
But I
right
thought-
behind him.
Because I was like, I went back.
It is confusing.
It is confusing because I thought Jobin was the cactus too.
Yeah, but then it wasn't. Maybe he just thought there were two.
But
I
then
don't
remember
know.
they cut the cactus in half and then they put the stick in the
remember.
cactus?
I remember. But he was the pot. I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
He just came out of the corner. It was just whatever.
Well,
But-
it's like the ability to perceive things as other things or to maybe not perceive them
At all.
So like it could have been that he was just there and you know. And yeah, so the mystery people in the ambulance, they're talking and they look like they're in some kind of gear. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, they have.
they're-
I mean, uniforms,
Yeah. They're
tactical outfits.
tactical, look very tactical, right? So they're talking and Josuke's like freaking out. We find out the appraiser is somehow still alive. Everybody thinks that either the branch is gone
Mm-hmm.
or that it was like lost. Like it's either like out of their
Burnt,
grasp or
mhm.
the other people think that they have it. Whatever.
Yeah, but Jobin came on top. Jobin and Tsurugi won.
Yeah,
If this
so-
was a situation, it'd be like Jobin and Tsurugi. You know, like
Oh, yeah,
Love
yeah.
is War. It'd be like they
Yes.
won.
Yeah, victory.
Yeah, victory for them.
Yeah, and that's where it ends. It ends on this like really cool shot. There was a really cool panel of them. Like Tsurugi has come all the way around. He's back on his dad's side because he is vulnerable, right, to this
Yep.
disease. And we saw
Yep.
that desperation
Yep.
in him versus the architect. And he was like, okay, Dad, I'm going to trust you. If you're saying you're not doing bad shit, if you're saying you do this to protect me, like I'm on your side. I won't tell Grandpa. I won't tell Josuke. I won't tell anybody. Like it's me and you versus everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where it ends. So I don't know how the fuck or where the fuck it's going to go from here.
It'll be a lot of games.
a lot of games, but it's only 34 more chapters. Like a lot did happen in these 34 chapters that we are covering today, or about 34 chapters that we're covering today. But I don't know, man. I mean, it does feel like we have our Joe Bro team assembled and all their goals are very clear. They're on the same page because we find out too, I don't know if we mentioned this, but we find out too that even Yasuho has a connection to Holly.
Yes.
And her connection is that when she tried to unalive herself, she was taken to the hospital and Holly like told her to focus on like what's important.
Mhm.
Stop looking at yourself, focus on like what's important, grab it by the wrists or whatever. And she even met Kira that day too.
Yeah.
And Kira told her that was when she's like, I know that this woman is your doctor, but she's not going to be because today's the last day she's going to get to be a doctor. The disease had already gotten to a point where she was going to be let go that day. So, Yasuho's invested, Josuke's invested, everybody's invested for their own reasons. And obviously Jobin and Tsurugi have great motivation for wanting to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we still don't know is who is at the head of this secret organization.
Yeah, that's the main antagonist.
And it's going to, I feel like, inevitably be a thing where our core group of what feels like Joe Bros and Jobin and Tsurugi are going to all have to team up to take out this the boss of this organization, the Diavolo of this part, if you will. So I don't know. I just really want to meet this guy. I really want to see what his vibe is, what he's all about, what his stand is, what his goals are. And yeah,
I'm
what
excited.
he's really planning on doing, because like I was saying, like, I don't know, like what he's trying to do with the fruit. We've been told it's like eternal life and selling it, but there's always something more. There's always something more. It has to be.
It's like, I just want it for myself.
Yeah.
But it can grow. It's not like it's just a one time. It's not like an amulet or something. He's like,
Right,
you guys,
right.
you can just make a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, that's where this chunk of chapters comes to an end. And as far as closing thoughts go, I just want to say that you said Blast?
Blast, yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so much fun. Like, I was kind of concerned going into it that it would be kind of where, I mean, people were, again, not really holding too much to that. But people were saying, like, yeah, towards the end, it gets kind of whatever. It gets kind of weird. And I went in not really like expecting that, but I was like, okay, what's going to happen? You know, the first half was so strong. What's going to carry over into the second half, you know, part 2? And I just have to say, like, it is just so much fun. And I love all of the characters. I love their motivations. I love seeing, you know, the villains, you know, side and the hero side. I love all of the like morally gray characters and their choices and what you know, has to be done versus what like needs. Like, it's just all connecting so well. I love the Higashikata family. They're so funny. I love all when they all get together. The whole Hotto's boyfriend, like that whole arc was just like chef's kiss, like some of the best in JoJo, like hands down, like has to be.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited to like see how it ends and see what's to come for all of these characters and the main villain and how he's going to fit into everything and the Higashikata, you know, family, how they're going to deal with that. And will Tsurugi be saved, not be saved? Like, I'm just curious to see.
Yeah, and is my man Rohan gonna get a little nod, a little cameo, a little something? Like,
he's out. He's out. He's gone.
Okuyasu, Koichi, like everybody's getting their little shout out. Where's Rohan's shout out? Is all I'm saying.
Rohan wrote this part.
Oh, this is Rohan.
This is at the end. It's just gonna be a manga.
This is Rohan's manga. Because he's reimagining the events that took place in Morio.
Imagine I'm like completely right.
That'd be crazy.
People were like, "You definitely saw a spoiler." No, I'm just kidding. That would be fucking. That would
be crazy.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. That would be crazy.
But I just have to echo everything that you said, Mehgan. This part is shaping up to be also one of my favorite parts. Like, I would put Steel Ball Run above it, but there's two completely different stories. The characters for sure, and it's again down to the original charm. Or the charm of the original, right? Part 4, the Morio setting, like everything about that part carries over to this part. Like, the characters are so fucking good. It's so funny. I just love everything.
It's gory. It's like really gory. Adult too.
But so kind of was like, I remember even in part 4 thinking like, damn, this shit is fucking about serial killers. And it's about like people's like decapitated hands just lying around everywhere. Like, obviously, this is on a completely different level, but I'm just loving this, man. I love the emotional moments, the backstories, the characters, the town, like the fruit, the concept of the fruit and the fusing and the like the Higashikata family dynamic, like you said, like all of it, like it's so good. I'm having so much fun reading this. This is like another fucking level of JoJo. Like, we really did like hit a whole different like. A rocky like era when we stepped into like Steel Ball Run. Like the growth is real, the storytelling, all of it. I'm having so much fun. I am curious because I also did hear some people kind of like have their own opinions on the end. And I just want to see for myself. Like, I want to find out for myself like what my feelings are towards that ending.
Yeah.
I don't know where it could possibly go, but I'm still like
I'm in it. I'm buckled in.
I'm still like just like in for the ride. Like I'm having a good ass fucking time, dude. This part is just been so good.
I can't wait for the cosplays for the last episode.
I know. It's gonna be fun. I've had a blast with this part. I can't wait to get to the final act. That's going to do it, though, for our discussion on this chunk of chapters, on the middle of Jojolion. Anything that we missed, leave them in the comments below, because I genuinely like going. It's so much. And I genuinely like going back and seeing all the things we missed. Like, oh, yeah, like that is a reference to this, a reference to that. Like,
or just like, you didn't touch on this too much. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, so please, any and all thoughts, feelings that you had about these chapters, whether you're reading them for the first time or whether you read it a long time ago, any and all comments. We love to see them. The only thing we have left to do now is to, before actually we get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes, is to thank our wonderful,
beautiful,
amazing
Patreon and YouTube members.
Thank all of you guys from the bottom of our heart. We wouldn't
Love
be
you
able to do
guys.
what we do without you. It's just a fact. It's a fact. Your support means the absolute world to us, and it's because of you that we've been able to go on this journey through all of JoJo, and we're here kind of at the almost at the end.
Yeah.
We do have a special tier called our
V1P
tier, where we, during this portion of the episode, we shout those members out by name. So without further ado, let's give a very special thanks to
Jesse Prevalet, Tyler the Nerdy Bassist, Roland V. Dub, Black Sun Series, Quattro,
Miguel Pierso, Connor Wombo, Jaquan Gold, Tyler Wallace, David Paulin, Manny, Paladin Berserker Jedi, Shane,
David Ramirez, Rexy, Rokuma, Dallas, Goodman, Mr. Sillinger Waifu, Loaf, Cameron, I Miss the Baka Boys, Austin, and Gachi Chadius Thundercock.
Thank all of you guys, man. Thank you to all of our Patreon and YouTube members, but a special thank you to our V1P members. If you are not a Patreon or YouTube member and you would like to become one, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/volume1pod or click join somewhere next to the subscribe button on this video. That gets you early access to all of our content, access to unedited, uncensored reactions, and so many other things, an exclusive podcast. The list goes on. If that's interesting to you, most of it is available on our lowest tier on both places. The only thing that is the personal shout out is the only thing that's exclusively available to our V1P members. So if any of those things sound interesting to you and you would like to join the Patreon or YouTube member gang, patreon.com/volume1pod or click join somewhere next to the subscribe button on this video to become a YouTube member. But if you're at a point and a place in your life where you're not able to financially give, please do not feel bad about that. There are so many other ways that you can show your support that help us out, that mean just as much to us, that you can do for absolutely free, that Mehgan will tell you all about now.
If you have no more English U to spare, which I don't know if you would have that because it is poisonous, but if you don't have that, don't worry, don't fret. You can do so many things to help us out for absolutely free, 99. You can go like this video, subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet, or even comment any thoughts or even emojis, anything. Really, it helps us and it acts as a free tip to us and our channel. We have social medias, Instagram, Twitter, and Discord, all linked in the description below. And if you join any of those things or follow us or even just comment on any one of our videos, it helps us out so much, and it does spread our videos far and wide throughout the YouTube sphere, space, and space and time.
Thank you for any and all ways that you show your support. It does mean the absolute world to us. The only thing left to do now is to get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes, which today, Mehgan, is I wish I had some caca fruit.
Be my ozone baby.
Oh, is that how the song goes?
Say you'll be my ozone baby.
Is that how the song goes?
Poor Tom's a bitch. I'm loco for low caca fruit.
Hello, caca.
More like hi caca.
Gabby, whatever. Give me some of that low caca.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like low caca.
Low caca fruit. Give me some of that low caca fruit.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for any and all ways you show your support. And until next time,
give me some of that low caca fruit. Yeah.
I want to live forever. I want to live forever.